Okay, so since this is my first lightning talk or first presentation,
This is a great gem, by the way.
I love this gem. I just discovered it yesterday when I was trying to figure out what I was going to present on. So I just picked a pretty simple gem to solve a problem that I was running into in a real life situation. So what is Chosen? Chosen is a gem that provides kind of like a Google-like instant search for a Google-like instant search for objects in your database. So just like Google kind of like pops it up as you are typing, Chosen does that same thing, and it's a jQuery plugin. So the real life examples would be in the app that I built, the SWABot, which is like a student database or student management system. Oftentimes we want to send a text message to multiple parents, and we want to send the same text message. But we don't want to have to send it over and over and select the parent every single time. So that was one thing that we needed to be able to select multiple parents at the same time. Another one, I'm building an app for the Las Vegas Track Club, and at the events, when members show up to volunteer, they get certain numbers of points for volunteering. So we wanted to be able to select any number of members and be able to assign them points. All I knew how to do before I found this gem was to create a giant list of checkboxes. But when you start to have hundreds of members or hundreds of users or thousands of users, that's going to become a giant list. So it will turn a checkbox list into something that is searchable. When you click on it, it pops up 10 or so, and then as you start typing, it narrows it down. So step one is to add the Chosen Rails gem to your gem file. If you're using Rails 4, you also need to use Compass Rails, and I'm going to expose my ignorance here and tell you that I have no idea what Compass Rails does. But it worked when I put it in my gem file. So maybe someone can help me answer that question later. Second thing that you need to do is you need to require Chosen. So in application.js, you need to include that Chosen jQuery, and then in application.css, you need to require Chosen. Step 3 is that you need to put a collection select in your form. So that looks like this. The example that I'm using is clubs and members. So this is a form that will create a new club, and so it's going through. It's where it says member IDs. That's an array that you'll add it to your strong params, and we'll get to that in just a second. So it's going through each of the members, ordering it by name. The ID is what will be added to the array, and the name is what is going to show up on the page. And then if you want the blank, like before they select anything to say something specific, you can add an option or a data placeholder, and I put select member. So you'll see when I show it to you that it will be there in the blank form. Multiple true allows users to select more than one of the options. So in this case, if I have a club, I want multiple members to be able to be added. So I put multiple true. And then in order to get Chosen to work, you need to, and I think I did this wrong, I think the convention is to use an ID instead of a class when you're using JavaScript. Maybe I'm wrong. Anyway. Okay, so I put class and I named it Chosen Select. So that's step 3. Step 4 is to add your jQuery. So I did this in CoffeeScript. I went into my clubs.js.coffee and got the selector, which the class is Chosen Select. You called Chosen on it, which is a method there. And then there's some options you can pass into that function. Width is one of them, so that's how big you want obviously your selector to be. You can also pass in options like how many things you want the user to be able to select at one time. So if you want to limit it to 5 members in a club, you can pass in that option as well. And then step 5, if you're using Rails 3, you need to add that array, whatever you call the array, I call it member IDs, to add accessible. If you're using Rails 4, you need to add it to strong params so that it won't get rejected. And I ran into, and I don't know why this one didn't work either, but Chosen wasn't working when I loaded the page the first time, but when I hit refresh, it would load and it would do the right thing. So I did some Googling and found out that I needed to add jQuery turbo links. Still have no idea what it exactly is doing, but it worked after I did it. So add that to your gem file and then add it to your application.js. Drawbacks to Chosen, as with any gem, it's kind of hard to tell what's going on underneath the hood. So I still don't really understand how exactly it's working. And then like my next steps would be AJAX for asynchronously loading if you have like thousands of records in your database, because obviously you don't want that to be loaded the first time if you're doing that search function. So yeah, I have 9 minutes left.
It's fine. That's great. Anybody have questions or a comment?
Can we see a demo?
Oh, yeah, sorry. This is so weird. I'm a teacher, so I talk in front of kids all day, but I get so nervous talking.
We're just natural.
We're slightly older kids, don't forget it.
Okay, so I'm going to make this lab, we'll call it
Oh, nice.
So the cool thing is, like, if you start typing the A names, it will narrow it down to A's. Select whoever you want there. Yeah, and I didn't experiment with this, but there's different, like, you can make it look like CSS on Facebook, so it will like have the overview that Facebook has. I didn't experiment with that. So we can add some people here, and then create a club. And my server's not ready. Oh, shut this on.
The main thing though is just that what you showed us, right?
Yeah, so.
That's where it works.
Yeah, it was good. So, yeah, that's all.
Nice.